Hi, I'm Rick Van Weren with RE/MAX Properties, and I'm here today with Jim Vermeer from Senior Living Decisions, who's an expert on senior housing options, and John Haney from Colorado Mortgage Company, who is an expert in how to use your home equity effectively throughout the time you own your home. Thanks for joining me this morning, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
So let's talk about the scenario where a change of scenery is really the right solution because of whatever. I mean, I run into clients all the time where one or the other of them is having knee problems or hip problems or whatever. The house isn't necessarily too big, but it's got too many levels, and trying to figure out kind of what the right way to do that. And although you can add the lift assistance with stairs, one of the options that a lot of my clients like to at least start talking about is either replacing the home or finding a facility where they just don't have to worry about this stuff. Now, you get into this a lot, don't you?
I do. I get those calls because they're no longer safe at home, even with home care. We can only go so far if it's a condition that requires 24-hour supervision. Home care can get well over $10,000 a month.
No.
And so
It's a lot of money.
Making a move to a home that physically works, and maybe even in a better geographic location, closer to family, those can be solutions.
Sure. And you can also use these home equity conversion products you've got, John, to actually purchase another home. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, that's right. So if, let's say in the example you've used where they've got too many levels in the house and they want to get to main level living, and maybe they're not quite ready yet for assisted care or something like that.
Or senior independent, too.
Or senior independent.
Point that out.
Right.
Jim represents a lot of different types of institutions.
So a home equity conversion mortgage can be used as a purchase vehicle or as a purchase finance option. And so liquidating the home that they're already in and rolling that equity over into the next property would allow them generally to get into that next property with a lot less cash. They're gonna be able to preserve a lot of their equity they currently have, be able to get into the new home that meets all of their needs, the main level living, laundry on the main level,
right.
and get into it with a lot less money out of their pocket. So they'll not only be able to preserve some of their cash, keep it in their pocket for additional living expenses, but they'll will not have any monthly mortgage payment. And that's generally the goal when we're looking at using this tool in that way.
So how much equity do they have to have on the purchase? I mean, I use the example of the healthy 70-year-old couple with maybe knee problems that want to get to one level, and they owe $200, so they're right at 50%. How does that work as far as replacing it with maybe, say, one of these new senior communities we've got going in where they're going to have inventory starting in the threes?
Right.
Can they do a move down like that? And
Absolutely.
How much of their equity do they have to use?
So in this example where they're about 70 or 72 years old, they're going to need about a 50% down payment.
Okay.
And so if your home price is $300 and they're liquidating and they have $200,000 to work with, they're only going to need about $150,000 down. That's their total down payment, and they'll never make another mortgage payment.
So they could actually pull equity out of their house and not have a mortgage and live in a house that fits their needs better.
That's right. And they still
have that.
Yeah, they still have about $50,000 left over.
Yeah.
Which they just put in the bank or take care of other things they need to take care of.
John, Rick, I got to break in here. Use the word strategy earlier. Using wealth management, using the home equity conversion as a tool. And it dawned on me the timing issue. And I think we all face that. And just a little story, I had a couple I was working with looking for a move to independent living, owned their home. I don't remember how much equity, but as we were working towards a deadline, between Saturday morning and Monday morning when we talked again, they had contacted 8 different buy my house kind of entities, and they were frustrated because they couldn't get, within 2 weeks, they couldn't get the value out of their house. So timing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Please call Rick before you need the equity out tomorrow. Same way with John. Let me help too. If you're looking at a possible move, let's talk about that sooner rather than later.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up because I find people will spend more time planning their vacations than they do planning the rest of their life or planning their finances so that they're ahead of, or they head off problems that could be lurking around the corner.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. And one of the biggest concerns that we're all running into with our older clients is the component that their mortgage takes up of their living expenses as they hit those retirement years, and how to kind of get rebalanced from being in an equity-rich, cash-poor situation to being back into a cash liquid situation and have the money they need to cover the living expenses, or in some cases just the things they want to do with their lives still. So
I have a question to timing. How long to get in place a home equity conversion?
Well, the process from start to finish is about 30 days. So that part of it is very standard to any other kind of real estate finance you might come across.
How long to sell your house?
Well, we like to get 30 days to market it and 30 days to close it. Realistically, we are in an extremely tight inventory situation right this minute. Here in Colorado Springs, there's only 552 homes for sale this morning that have a Colorado Springs address, and so we can make that sale happen kind of quick sometimes if we need to. But it still takes 30 days to close typically. And even you reference these iBuyers, as we call them, but the come by my house people, none of them are working as instantly as they like to let you believe, and it's still weeks before they can make something happen. And then oftentimes they are giving you a less than market value transaction at a more than market value cost of transaction, and so you get hit twice, and you actually lose quite a bit of equity in those.
So what would be the appropriate time frame for somebody to come and talk to you if they have these thoughts that maybe it's time to make a move?
I like to meet with people as soon as they first start thinking of this. And I have people, we have these discussions sometimes years before it ever comes into play. But we've got online tools available to help remind them of when equity changes are happening. We periodically will review the house. Sometimes I'll review a house with people and give them advice as to what they should do to their house to have it ready, because that's the other side of it, is when you market a house, sometimes the house isn't really very show ready, and so taking care of some of those things. And I've seen many times where some of the same things that people need to do to make their house more comfortable to actually stay in are the things we would want to do to the house to make it ready to sell. And so an example of that would be worn out carpet where there's tripping hazards and stuff. When they're concerned about their mobility, maybe going to hardwood floors now. They're wheelchair ready if ever they got to that point, heaven forbid, but they're also trip hazard free right away, and they look wonderful, and so they're also ready for resale when it comes. So it's kind of a win-win thing, and the answer is as early as possible is really what it gets down to. Knowing where you stand on your home equity is always an important part of your long-term financial strategy.
So we're all here for the long haul.
Yes,
Let us
absolutely.
be part of your strategy.
Absolutely. In our quest to be your family realtor for life, we know that sometimes it involves decisions about living in your senior years, and we want to be able to help you through that process as well. Please give us a call if you have any questions about the materials we just covered here today. Thanks so much for joining us.